look like an inflated marshmallow in a microwave with an impacted ego? It's because I have made him eat every bit of his pride, bite by bite, to where there is just a shell of a man left. But am I satisfied with that? No. I want to crush the shell into 1,000 pieces. And how can I do that? By challenging him to a Texas chain match massacre. That's right. I'm sure you're scared, Dusty. I'm sure that you're shaking right now. But where can you hide? Are you going to crawl back into your past? Even if you do that, what happens when you turn the lights on? Oh, you are confronted with your worst nightmare. Accept my invitation to a massacre.
Thank you so very, very much, and welcome once again to Florida Championship Wrestling, sanctioned by the Professional Wrestling Federation. I might point out, of course, that there will be matches tonight in Fort Lauderdale at War Memorial Auditorium. It's going to be a great night of competition there. We will be returning to the Tampa area on April 5th. We'll be in Sarasota on the 8th. We're coming to Bradenton, West Palm Beach, you name it, we're going to be there. During this next hour, we're going to be seeing a ladies' match. For one thing, the Raging Bull Manny Fernandez has returned. We'll be seeing him in action. We'll be seeing a six-man tag team match, and it will be Dustin Rhodes going up against the Hangman Bobby Jaggers. And with me, of course, is Diamond Dallas Page.
I'll tell you, Garden, I'm so excited. The National Wrestling Federation's going worldwide, everywhere it's in, and I especially want to welcome WSVN, Channel 7 in Miami, Page 1, check it out, because the Professional Wrestling Federation is going everywhere, along with Florida Championship Wrestling, baby, and it is so good, so fine, baby. I'll tell you, I'm elated.
Well, you're looking mighty fine. There's no question about that, Mr. Page. I might also say that, of course, for those of you who may not be aware of it yet, the Professional Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion is now indeed one Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, and, well, so far... Well, that's a personal opinion on your part.
Here comes my man. Here comes my man. Another champion. The real champion for another turn out here.
Al Perez has captured the Florida Heavyweight Championship, but Mike Graham has got a rematch upcoming.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Here we go.
Yeah, we got it. You know something, Gordon? I've been a champion in the past, and I'm planning on being a champion real soon now. As a matter of fact, I know Dusty Rhodes, the PFW heavyweight champion, is here. And I want to talk to him face-to-face, in person. I'll make it short and good. Thank you.
All right, fair enough. Al Perez, the Florida heavyweight champion. And I'll tell you what, we've got some great matches upcoming, including a special handicap match first on the docket on today's program. So let's turn it over to the ring and Diamond Dallas Page.
Crank up the music and let's get out the real champion. I'm talking about 385 pounds. And it takes two men to beat one man. On his way and coming to the ring by my main man, the Hump, Sir Oliver Upperdates. Feast your eyes on the real deal, boys. The big B-A-double-D man, Steel Man. Take it, son. Take it home.
referee calls for the bell. El Cid and Kevin Catlin going up against the Big Steel Man in a special handicap match. Now, I might just point out that they will have to adhere to Australian tag team rules. And the Big Steel Man made the statement that he was tired of single opponents. He wanted a bit more of a workout, as he called it. And he's got things under control right now.
Yeah, I guess so, baby. It takes two men to beat the man now, as far as I'm concerned. When he can't meet the right opponent, oh, good God. Maybe when he can't meet the right single opponent, he'll take on two. Look, he helped that man right through his corner, man. He helped him.
El Cid in trouble, and the Big Steel Man shouting at him to get up. Some ominous sounds from Terry Funk at the very opening of our program, as you saw and heard. And
Whoa! Woo!
tried a cross-body block, and just having no effect on the Steel Man at all. He is indeed a man of steel.
This is beautiful, baby. This is beautiful. That guy tried to come up the top rope there. Lay on that man, Hump. Do you love it? Do you love it, Hump?
Catlin in a lot of trouble already, and as he tried to move across the ring, it's the Big Steel Man bringing
Here we
him
go.
out.
Oh! There ain't nobody getting off of that, Goddard.
And that's
Beautiful.
That's it. And so the Big Steel Man demolishes the team of El Cid and Kevin Catlin. And, well, all I can say is this Steel Man is one of the most impressive competitors I have ever seen. Obviously, he is looking for Dusty Rhodes in the PWF Heavyweight Championship as well. And I guess right now it might be a good idea to find out what is going on with Diamond Dallas Page and Sir Oliver Humperdinck.
That's right, baby. Diamond Dallas Page here with the Hump, Sir Oliver Humperdinck, and our minds are fused together, baby. That's right, with the big B-A-double-D band, Steel Man, brother. And like I said before, when we can't find one man worthy of beating this man, we'll bring in two. Am I right, Hump? Did you see that awesome display, Diamond Dallas Page? Woo! Did you see what the big man did? And not one human being, but to two. Undoubtedly, the man standing with us today from Steel City, USA, is the toughest, roughest man in the sport today. And he's doing exactly what we want him to do, Diamond Dallas. He's going out there night after night and eliminating one after another. Now, there's a little situation that has arisen with Tricky Dickie Slater. And on April the 8th... Slater to Slater, baby. Hit it. Dickie Slater, the traitor, that's right. April the 8th down in Sarasota at Robarts Arena, Dick Slater. This big monster right here is going to be waiting for you. And he's going to take you like he took those two pumps and rip you limb from limb. And Dusty Rhodes. We ain't forgetting that, baby. It was a Dusty Rhodes. Our lack of experience, Diamond Dallas, was all it was. Or this man would be the PWF champion today. But I'm telling you something, Dusty Rhodes. If you think you got beat up last time, if you think you felt sore for about a week after that, you're going to be in traction, brother. Permanent traction from your neck down to your feet. This big man right here will stop at nothing. Dusty Rhodes, you remember how it was. You remember the beating you took, brother. Beat the ball like a red-headed stepchild. That's exactly right, Dusty Rhodes. There'll be a day again when you'll have to get in the ring with the Big Steel Man. And, brother, when that day comes, we will settle for nothing but absolute destruction. I am talking down to the bone, Dusty Rhodes. Dick Slater, you first, and then Dusty Rhodes. And you got it, Slater, Trainer, and Dusty Rhodes. Now some important messages.
The attitude and the philosophy of Dick Slater changes quite often, but this most recent change is certainly one for the good.
Well, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and one mistake was being involved, period, with Humperdinck. Diamond Dallas Page, you got a lot of diamonds, you got a lot of girls, you drive a nice car. All I want to know is, I hope you've got yourself a great big life insurance policy. Because, see, Diamond Dallas Page, you were up in the Tampa press box, and I heard at one time you had the thumbs down on Dick Slater. Well, Humperdinck, and I'm sure right here we got a film, but Humperdinck took it upon himself to run me in that steel pole. Well, you see, Humperdinck is going to be a real short time. You see right here where Humperdinck run me in the pole. Of course, I got a few stitches, but then again, after the thing was over, the Steel Man, Bam Bam Bigelow,
And welcome back to the IWAR Network Tubecast. I'm your host, Alex G, and I'm here all by my lonesome. So I was kind of bored this evening, and I was thinking about maybe do a surprise Tubecast, maybe a Q&A, maybe an Ask Me Anything, as I work on IWA stuff this evening. As you can see, I do have the screen share here. This is what I use. I use Publisher for IWA stuff, by the way, guys. I know a lot of people use PowerPoint. Some people use Word. Pages. I guess is another one. Ryan Patrick, looking at you with your Apple shenanigans. I use Publisher here myself for my trash talk because when it comes to my TT, personally, I like to use a kind of a magazine format. I am a child of wrestling magazines, PWI, Inside Wrestling, WWF Magazine, Wrestling Wrap-Up, WCW Magazine, and I feel that over time, that's what my TT evolved to. It became magazine format, so there's a lot of information there. I think it gets the point across fairly quickly. It's the most impactful thing I can do. When it comes to writing TT, that's what you're looking for when you're writing TT, and for your rookies or your people that may have gotten into the storytelling aspect of this game. Developing your own style of TT is super important. And when you're looking at TTs, generally speaking, they can be a block of text, right? So you're looking at this block of text and you're trying to get attention from the readers. So guys, don't forget that we're the audience. We're the fans in the stands. So it's your fellow managers who are your audience, and don't forget that. So, having the big block of text may not be, as you're skimming through a bulletin, and what most people do, and I'll be completely honest, and I've been in the game since 2013. These guys have been in the game for 20, in some cases 30 years. What most players seem to do is they skim the bulletin and they're looking for their names. So they're not necessarily reading everyone's TT. They're just looking for their names, unless there's someone that catches their eye or someone they're perhaps feuding with. So most players don't read all the TT and they're given league. You probably should. If you're commissioner, you definitely should. It's always a good idea to know what's going on with your players so you can kind of guide them in the correct direction. So I had this month's TT up, but I don't see it. So I'm going to try to pull up the CWL and see if we can get that going so we can run you through my TT this month specifically and kind of give you some examples of like how to write yours, or if you guys have any questions. Again, it's opened up for everyone. I do have an open line right now for people to come and join the show if you so choose. So we're wide open. I can take questions and I'll kind of have some fun. I'm kind of bored anyway, so it might be a good time for that. Up in the corner, we do have ECW going on. Once again, running through the entire year of 1994 going into 1995 ECW. Yeah, Mr. Hughes taking on Salvador Balomo. But let's go ahead and scroll down. Okay. So like I mentioned before, I do take a magazine type approach. So we will start here with the first page. This is Luther Alexander's Wrestling Almanac and Book of Facts. So if you guys ever had the PWI Wrestling Almanac and Book of Facts, I totally copied it. So I totally copied the concept, and having this as his return is it's Luther. It's Luther and his ego, and then you have your complete secret origin, which is not in here, which is hilarious. Complete match results, which is also not in here. Title history. We do hear from some rivals and rivalries, and we do talk about some of his movies. And don't forget that Luther is in fact a movie star. He tends to take old movies from the 80s and remake them in Russian. And he funds them himself because he's insane. So the next page up, we have this is an old ad I did. It's probably 7 or 6 years old. Again, it's Stallone as the Terminator. Terminator X, which is a reference to Revolution X or RX, Revolution Extreme. The stable that was once a plague upon the IWA. Again, it's a takeoff from that movie poster. Again, don't forget that Luther is, in fact, the biggest movie star in the world, at least in his mind. Moving on from there, we have a little aside by the late O.J. Simpson. Some of you may know, and I know there's some newer players around. O.J. Simpson is Luther Alexander's best friend, so which is kind of hilarious that Luther hates everyone in the world, but the only person that he's friends with is O.J. Simpson. So O.J. had written this great thing about Luther's return right before he passed away. So it's kind of the gag here is like Luther is best friends with like the worst person you could never think of. You know what I mean? At least in 1994, 1995. O.J. Simpson was the worst person on the planet for a period of time. I think the title's been taken ever since. But that's kind of the kind of gags and parody that I like to do with Luther here. So having this kind of forward by O.J. Simpson, it's kind of hilarious. It's comparing him to Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson and Jackie Robinson and Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain. It's kind of funny to me. Moving on from there, we have, and I think everyone should do this, especially when they're either returning or going into a league, and you may want to do it every 6 or 7 cycles or so, just to kind of get everyone a refresher on who you are and kind of what the tail of the tape is for you, and kind of some people do it every cycle and they'll list all the championships and all the accomplishments every cycle or so. And that's fine and dandy, but I don't think anyone really cares that you won a regional championship back in 2018. I mean, it's just we win them all the time, and if you're good enough, you'll have plenty of regionals and TVs and leagues underneath your belt, and you'll start accumulating those things. But if you want to list, like, to me, it's more impactful if you're going to list, your IWA wides, some of the commissioners' championships, obviously your IWAR World Championship, or if you win the IWA World Championship, definitely shout those out. But saying, hey, listen, I was the Southern champion back in 2017, like, cool, good for you, buddy. So we have the tail of the tape here for Luther. I've been doing some things with Luther, augmenting him a little bit, so he's not a carbon copy of Sylvester Stallone. So he kind of looks like Sylvester Stallone, but you can clearly seeing as I'm getting away from using Stallone as the avatar that he's kind of evolving to his own himself, kind of his own person here, so to speak. But we do have to tell the tape again. We have the name Luther Alexander. He's 6 feet tall. He's 202 pounds, kind of on the small side. He's essentially a cruiserweight, to be honest. He currently resides in Kings Park, New York, which is the home of Pilgrim State Insane Asylum, where he currently resides. He bought that property. Born in, I can't even pronounce this, in Russia, which was a old Cold War. If you look it up on because I did look this up. It's kind of this kind of dead town, kind of a ghost town that they used to do weird Russian experiments during the Cold War. And I always allude to the fact that that Luther does not have parents. He was created in a laboratory by Soviet scientists to be the perfect athlete. That's what we're going with. If we're going to have a origin story, we might as well have it be multiple choice. Wins 10,000 plus, which is a lie. He only has about like 3,000 wins. But guys, don't ever forget this. If you're going to learn anything from me talking here on the Tubecast, is heels lie. Heels lie. So don't take it personal when you beat Luther in the pay-per-view and then the next cycle's like, you didn't beat me. I beat the hell out of you. Because heels lie. That's what they do. It's a gateway to get heat, by the way. Nicknames here. Again, he's Putin's Pride, the Tsar of the IWAR. The world's finest, your favorite wrestler, the Dancing Destroyer, the Count of Monte Cristo, and, in fact, the Red Scorpion. That is a parody. The nicknames is a parody from, have you ever seen Rocky 1? When they go through all of Apollo Creed's nicknames, and the Dancing Destroyer's in there, the Count of Monte Cristo is one of his nicknames, and that's where I took that from. Fun fact, Luther has a twin brother, which he actually has a twin brother. I had him as a wrestler for a while. Alexander, and to me, the only reason that I had him is because the name Alexander is hilarious. I find that funny. He does have a twin brother. He is crazy. He is locked in a cell. He does not come out. He's locked in there for all times because he's just too crazy to be let out for the general populace. He's just out of his mind. Again, it's always good to mention your finisher, or if you have multiple finishers like I do. I do those, change them up every once in a while, just for shits and gigs. So Luther's finisher is the Oxygen Destroyer, which, for those of you who are fans of Godzilla, is the only thing that can kill Godzilla is the Oxygen Destroyer. So I like that name. It's basically the Taz mission, the Kata Hajime, as Joey Styles used to say. That's what the finisher is. So basically it's just a choke. Hence the name Oxygen Destroyer, which I felt is apropos. He also has the Soviet Super Kick, the Soviet Sky Elbow, and the Soviet Star Press, which is your Super Kick, your Randy Savage elbow, and a Shooting Star Press. Next up, and I like to do this too, like mock ads, because I find it hilarious to me. I saw Double D Christoph. He had a mock ad in there. It was Hidden Valley, so that's the stuff that I'm talking about. That's hilarious. I dig that for sure. Again, we are currently augmenting some of my characters. So clearly, Luther is holding up Tracy. Formerly Tracy Lords, but we're just going to call her Tracy from here on out. I made some changes with her a little bit. Kind of gave her a fresh up in terms of avatars and stuff like that. So it may not be exactly Tracy Lords anymore, but it's now Tracy. Very WWE of me just to drop the last name there. Moving on, I thought it was important here, again, as a refresher. I've been out of the game secretly in the game, but out of the game for a year. Luther hasn't been in the game for a year and probably a half at this point. So it was very important to kind of reintroduce the Scott. This watch you say Boombaye is really discussion. Alexander, Scott, you crack me up, man. That's a good one. That being said, Scott got me all frazzled. I lost my deal here. Now I'm kind of scrolling through my Facebook. Let's go back. Where was I? There we go. Alrighty, so I thought it was important to have kind of Luther's friends and foes kind of speak out on his behalf and kind of get the word out on him. So we have with Tracy on top. That very suggestive on Tracy's part here. Senior Lucha, which is his arch nemesis, his arch rival, his number one guy that he hates. Terrible Ted, the wrestling bear. Need a drink here. Terrible Ted is an interesting character. He's what I call a recurring character. Kind of. See, early on in Luther's career, he was feuding with a guy named King Klondike, who came to the ring with Terrible Ted, the wrestling bear. And one time the Bear tried to do a run-in on Luther, and Luther hit him in the head with a chair, knocking out the Bear. And ever since then, the Bear makes an appearance maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, to kind of try to get his revenge on Luther. So Terrible Ted will ever come back out, and probably the most, inopportune moments for Luther as he's trying to win a title, and that Bear will come out and attack him, and we're off and running. We have Vladimir Putin, who actually trained Luther Alexander in judo, so it's a little known fact. Then Neo Dragon, again, another big rival and friend at one point of Luther, and he did get the win on Luther and kind of ended that feud. But one day Neo Dragon will return. I know it's in my heart, and Luther will get his revenge. After that, we got Samantha Soley again. She brought Luther back, but they'll never forget that Luther was the one that started her out as a commentator in the NWL, and she's actually, we talk about side characters and kind of building your universe. I think we talked about that briefly yesterday. It's like, I have side characters. You know what I mean? So I have, kind of guys in the background. Samantha Soley was a commentator for the NWL, and then she was an administrative assistant for the IWL, and then eventually the commissioner of the IWL, now here in the CWL as well. Our good friend Johnny B makes an appearance here, talking about Luther and how he really feels about Luther and how he's the greatest wrestler of all time. I actually make an appearance here, talking about Luther. As use my catchphrase, I dig that there, and that's a real picture of me, folks. That's a real picture. And then we have Lance Catamaran, which is an announcer I had in the NWL, and I used him in the IWL. Also, we had a double turn with our commentators during a pay-per-view. So I had a babyface commentator, which was Lance, and then my heel commentator Tully, and they actually during the show they kind of switched. So Tully became a babyface and Lance became a heel. And then we have Roman Reigns. Finally admitted the fact that Luther Alexander is in fact better than Roman Reigns. Then we have Todd Bridges. Again, he's kind of Todd Bridges is taking OJ's spot as kind of Luther's buddy, his running mate. So we have Todd Bridges, and then we have George Pimpton with comments as well. Next up, we have the Take Us On. This is a parody of the IWA ad that some of you may have seen, and kind of early 90s, maybe late 80s, early 90s. PWI is actually where I took it from. So it's basically a recreation of it, kind of a parody of it, with a notable addition of Luther in the lineup of wrestlers here. So we had a Luther in there. One day, I think my retirement, when I retire from the IWA, I'm gonna ask them to put Luther in and take out, maybe nuke the secret weapon, and we'll put Luther in his spot as one of the jobbers you face when you first show. I think that'd be a good deal there. And we talk about the the championship clock, which I want reinstated. Desperately want the championship clock reinstated for sure. One day, other than the belt, maybe one day we'll get a belt that's a giant clock, and that would be dope. Very Flavor Flav style. Moving on, these are old posters that I did for Luther. These are probably anywhere from 5, 6, 7, 8 years old at this point. I think that the Revolution Extreme, the IWAR magazine cover is from 2014, because it has a date on it. We talk about Luther's first run in the CWO, which he won every single commissioner's championship while he was there last time. So these are all posters I did. There's a Wolverine poster that's kind of a parody. There's a Godfather parody there. There's, Luther Alexander's Russian barbecue sauce. That's when he was feuding with Ricky Kyle at the time when I came up with that. And the funny thing about Luther, I think people tend to forget it, but it's kind of like Luther is not a foreign heel in a way that foreign heels are portrayed. So he's more like a Roddy Piper, where like Roddy Piper's Canadian, who was playing someone who was Scottish, who was a heel. He's just a heel that happened to be Scottish. He wasn't a Scottish heel. So Luther is a heel that just happens to be Russian. Not a Russian heel like the Koloffs or something like that, or Nikolai Volkov. It's kind of a different dynamic. And then here's Luther's TT. Now some tips here with the TT. Anytime I say someone's name, I kind of highlight it. Like I said before, managers tend to just scan TT for their names. So just in case, I don't want them missing out on their names here and what I'm saying. I put Baron Stevens in pink because I thought that was hilarious. We did the Scarface homage poster here too. Threw that in there as well, so I thought that was pretty cool. The Risky Business. Now, for those of you who don't know, I do sneak attacks once a year, just for fun. There was a time where I felt that sneak attacks were overdone. Like there were people doing them like every cycle, and they were getting kind of crazy. Although I feel now, looking at kind of the modern landscape, is I'm not seeing a ton of sneak attacks out there, and that's probably something that should increase a little bit. Kind of the run-ins, and you can make them fun too. And guys, don't be afraid to. I write run-ins where I lose. You know what I mean? Like I go to attack someone and they get the best of me, and I kind of fail. So you can play it kind of both ways. To kind of, you can put yourself where you get attacked, and like now I have to bounce back. Collaborate if you can. I always like to have that be a collaborative effort because you never want to write someone out of character. But people used to get really mad back in the days. I don't know if this happens anymore, but people used to get really mad where you would attack their wrestler and they would get upset about it, or you would use their character incorrectly or out of character possibly. And my pushback to that, if your character is written the right way, that won't happen because the person who's conducting that attack would understand who your wrestler is. And you shouldn't take those things personal. So I'll give you a prime example. So when I first started, I was doing all these TTs because I wanted to kind of show off my vast wrestling knowledge and my smart markiness, I guess you would call it. And I would cut these TTs from where I considered, wrestling landmarks throughout the world. So I did Grenoble in the French Alps. I did the Double Cross Ranch in Amarillo, Texas. I think I did one in front of Madison Square Garden, whatever. And then I did one in a Russian chain factory in the former Soviet Union, and this is a playoff on Nikita Koloff. I wasn't very clear about that, though. So the NWL commissioner at the time thought that Luther Alexander was Russian, although I have never written him as Russian before. So once that happened, I kind of took it to heart that was my fault because he didn't understand who my wrestler was. And he read all my stuff. He was the commissioner. He read all my stuff. I wasn't getting that point across about who he is necessarily. So that was my fault. So either I could have corrected him on it, or I could have said something, or I could have done what I did and kind of go with it there, which is what I did. So Risky Business is something I do once a year where I do the ending of The Godfather. If anyone's seen the movie The Godfather, you've seen the baptism of fire where, all these kind of things, all these guys get killed in rapid succession. It's the same way I run it. So, for example, Risky Business will be next month, and you might see, I think I have 4 or 5 sneak attacks ready to go. He's going to attack 4 or 5 different, what sounds crazy to some people maybe is like, this one guy's going to attack 4 or 5. Yes, he's going to attack 4 or 5 different people. It's going to be brutal. He only does it once a year, but people are going to get the ass kicked. So apparently the CWO office burnt down. I don't know what happened with that, but yeah, it went on fire. Oops. There's a Revolution Extreme poster right above Luther's shoulder too. So, so Luther being so kind, he's like, "Hey, listen, guys, you're invited to use his offices at the Alexander Asylum in King Parks, New York. So hope you guys take him up on that offer. He's going to charge you rent, though, so that's for sure. So next up is a kind of a poster I did for the Continental Wrestling League. This is probably 8 or 9 years old. It's kind of brandish in the ECW type font here, but I thought I'd use that again and kind of bring it back just because, I thought it was fun. I still have it. It's one of the things I didn't lose. CWO orientated. He's back. You see the Intercontinental Championship on the bottom there. After that, we have a kind of a parody on the $6 Million Man poster here. So we have Luther. This is a re-edit of it. So what does Scott want? No, Luther's dad's not Robert Goulet. Could have been, though, but it wasn't. After that, this is a kind of a histrionics of Revolution Extreme. You see the different logos that we had. So the most recent one was the Cobra logo. The original one is the RX and the circle, and then we have the Bullet Club inspired one that we used for a very long time. And you can see that when Luther went to Africa, very Dave Chappelle-ish, and he ran into Kamala and Akeem, the African Dream. Tupac was there. Slick was there also. So he was finding himself going to Africa. On the bottom is Revolution Extreme, which is a takeoff on Public Enemy's logo. So I do a lot of parodies. So I'll see something I like, and I'll kind of mold it and manipulate it for my own personal uses, I guess. After that, we have just a coming soon. It's kind of you see a Red Scorpion there. You see some of the AI work I've done. So this is a little bit different AI work than you may have seen before. I think it's more cleaner. It's not 100% computer generated, which can be weird. We're just kind of manipulating the face here to make it what I need it to be. So you see Luther as the Red Sun Superman. You see the Rocky poster with the Luther face on it. You'll see some anime pictures and Luther as Terry Funk, which I always think is great. We do have Luther and Tracy together here in Japan, so that's cool. And we see Neo Dragon's IWA plaque that I held hostage for a couple of weeks. And that's it. That's all the TT that I had for that cycle. Again, kind of giving you a little director's commentary on it, just to see what's up. Let's see. Okay. So I can now run you through this month's TT. So I'll give you a little sneak preview about what I'm doing this cycle. So this is the cover here. The cover is going to be, again, it's magazine orientated. The Source magazine, for those of you hip hop fans out there, know what the Source magazine is. And Luther, in fact, declares war on the CWL. You're going to get a picture of Tracy here. Again, so I took a AI-generated photo and then AI-generated again and then changed the face. So we got a kind of a AI-generated but not AI-generated picture of Tracy. Again, we changed her up a little bit. Then we have the Tracy and Luther love story. Again, she's very much his Miss Elizabeth. You know what I mean? So we may see a match made in heaven coming up soon. So we might get a Luther and Tracy wedding, which would be fun to write one day. Luther already had one wedding. Poor Scotty Flash's grandma. Next up, we have a nice little. I don't know what ad I'm going to do for this yet, but it's still in progress. But this is a Middle Eastern, maybe Indian. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. A poster for Nighthawks, which is a great film featuring Sylvester Stallone and Billy D. Williams. Here's the TT for this month. Again, it's not complete yet, but I started it. I like to start these early because I used to do the big thing where I guess a lot of people still do it. It's like you're waiting for that Sunday night and it's like 3 o'clock in the morning and you're trying to get everything out. I started doing stuff like the day gold drops. So I usually start. Sometimes if I finish it early enough, I start the next cycle stuff. So this was actually probably started like a week ago. I just kind of get everything in place before I read the bulletin and then know what I'm doing moving forward. See here, we got a picture of Red Scorpion 2. So we're going to do Red Scorpion 2, and you guys have to guess who it is. Oh no. Again, this is going to be his TT here. And then I did a little something different here. Again, and as I always say, TT doesn't have to be a block of text. So these are kind of Luther's thoughts here about, kind of the lay of the land here of the CWL. So yeah, that's fun. And Scott sent me over this picture here, so I'm gonna end up using that. So stole that from him. So thanks, Scott, for the photo of Luther Alexander is in fact the Punisher. So then this is we're gonna start in the risky business, which we're not gonna look too much into, but kind of what that's gonna look like. These are all individual sneak attacks. So for those of you who are really kind of interested, if you could pause it and kind of look at what I'm doing and kind of what my ideas are. This is the way I do TT. This is the way I'm set up. So if anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns here, we could definitely look that up. And we got ECW here. We got is that Tommy Dreamer taking on Superfly Jimmy Snuka? Oh, on the screen capture. This is I think I often talk about it, and I have a pretty big movie collection and TV collection, music collection. I use Plex as kind of the front end here, so it organizes it kind of in like a Netflix type style. So, and I can stream it from anywhere. So those are like all the movies I have. So let's see how many movies I currently. That says 1,900 films. So any of these I can watch from any one of my devices. Again, it's basically a streaming service of movies that I've owned. So back in the day when DVDs were prevalent, I purchased a lot of them because they were cheap. And I like watching movies. So when the digital age came, I started converting those DVDs into digital files and used to kind of stream them like off my Xbox with like one hard drive and so on and so forth. So I've been doing that for at least 13, 14 years at this point. So as I, collected more films, I'm able to kind of stream them wherever I go now using Plex. It's a great media server for those people who are interested in the future, like to have watch parties. You can do watch parties on these, so I'll be able to share it with some of my friends. I think Derek and Matt have watched stuff off of my server, so it's pretty cool. I totally dig it. So again, guys, this is a Q&A, so if you have any questions, that's what the chat's for. I don't know how many people are currently on right now. Let's take a look. Well, it's two of us, so one is me, and there's one other person out there. And I know this was last moment. I was kind of bored. Everyone's probably tired from last night's Tubecast. That's my Facebook page on the screen capture. That's cool. Oh, by the way, guys, if not to sound like a jerk or nothing, but I don't necessarily accept friend requests like that as a general rule, just because I have enough friends. But you can always reach me if you want to reach me. Just DM me. I'm on the IWAR Network Facebook page. So any questions, comments, concerns, I'm back. So I've been a commissioner for 10 years. I've had 2 number 1 leagues, like real ones, not gimmicked ones where I'm giving away everything. I've actually worked hard to get those to number 1. I was the commissioner of the NWL and the IWL, and actually did them at the same time for a while. And that was rough, doing 2 leagues at the same time. I don't begrudge anyone from doing that. That's a rough one. And I've kind of helped start leagues too. just giving advice and just concepts to try. And so if you guys have an idea, I can probably help you with that. I tend to be kind of prickly though, so I'm from New York. What do you want from me? You're gonna have to deal with that a little bit. That's okay. I think I mentioned was going to ask a question, but you made fun of my laptop. I'm sorry. It's a Mac. It's ridiculous. Let me build a computer, and I'm just going to have proprietary software so you can't use anything. So if you like Excel, go fuck yourself. That's what they sound. That's Steve Jobs. That's what he sounds like. I had an iPhone once. I think it was a 3. It's a piece of garbage. I'm sorry. It's a piece of garbage. It was like I went right back to BlackBerry, buddy. That's what I did. And I always wonder, me and Matt will have this conversation privately sometimes, like, how many of you guys still watch wrestling? Like, I know there's a segment of this game that don't watch wrestling. Which I think it's weird because this is like, it's a math game, technically, right? It's a probability math game with a wrestling front end on it. One of the questions, and I always forget, I have like a bunch of Johnny B questions like every time we do these, and I never write them down. And then when we do the show, I can't ever remember them. And they were like really good, poignant questions too, that I know he would give a flawless answer to, and I always forget them. I should really write those down. I do wonder like like Johnny B was obviously a immensely creative guy. He was able to create all these games and obviously a brilliant guy and was a teacher, taught different languages and stuff. I wonder what he would do with like today's tech though. Like with the technology we had today, like it'd be no limits for him. It'd be ridiculous. So I kind of wonder, like, I do all this stuff and I'm not talented at. I can't draw. I write at a third grade level. Like, someone who actually knew what they were doing and was very creative. I always wonder what they could do with today's tech. That would have been amazing to see what he would be able to do. And, I think we often talk about the play-by-mail games, but I wonder what other kind of games that he had. And it's funny, too, because I was like, I don't necessarily know he was the biggest wrestling fan, although we probably had a level of appreciation for it. I think we talked about that before. It's just that pro wrestling was, like, 1985 pro wrestling was the hottest thing on the planet. That and MTV is probably the super hot thing. So it makes sense to create a game with wrestling, but I often wonder why was the IWA the one that made it? Like what? How did this game stand the test of time? Is it because wrestling fans are insane and passionate? I guess that's one of the reasons. And the game is the concept of the game itself, like the actual like core components of the game, are ingenious and it's simple, but it's complex at the same time. Like I know guys who have their spreadsheets with their strategies, and you have guys like me who literally take 3 minutes with the strategies. And I think I average anywhere from a 493 to 494, and I don't even try. I'm not bragging. I probably should actually like watch the workshop and track the holds, and I probably do a lot better. But I'm doing other stuff like creating weird pictures and using AI and coming up with angles and sneak attacks and junk. And that's where I have the fun in the game. Not kind of doing the math part. Oh, I also did the the cover of the IWAR magazine. And I thought it was pretty funny. He Mad suggests the kind of the rap sheet wanted poster. So kind of did the bulletin board background, and then we did Luther, and then there's all types of fun Easter eggs and what have you in the wanted poster, and then there's post-it notes on there and some fun stuff. And Ryan doesn't know what Pogs are, and I'm upset about that. How do you not know what Pogs are? Bottle caps. You guys played with Pogs, right? It was the hottest thing in '93, on the planet. It's like not knowing what Garbage Pail Kids are, or Snap bracelets or something. It's ridiculous. They didn't have Pogs in Michigan, I guess. It's awful. Apparently, Cat got his tongue on that one, no response. I was kind of trying to bait him into that one. Oh. I wonder if the IWA came out today, would it be an MMA video, MMA version of the IWA? To be honest, I'm surprised that maybe someone has. Right, Johnny B. Has everyone done a UFC inspired league? Just as to work the same way. In '93, your boss got with Miller Lights. Miller Lights. I know you're more of a. Was it Miller Highlights? I'm more of a Coors Banquet guy myself, to be honest. Yeah, and MMA version league could be interesting, especially with some of the bigger. They've adapted. I think it's probably less now, but a couple of years ago they really kind of went heavy into kind of the pro wrestling, promo style with Conor McGregor and stuff like that. And, it probably could work if someone tried it, but I think as we discussed yesterday, Ryan, sometimes the gimmick leagues don't work as well because you kind of limiting your base of people. We probably should in CWO. We probably should eliminate, change some of those jobbers' names. Because I think at one point they were doing a kind of Asian-inspired league, and I don't think we're doing that anymore. So it's something to think about, possibly. One day at the show, when I was a kid, I do have my composition notebook from I don't know what year it was, but I did my own version of the IWA as a child and used comic book heroes. And I probably should post this one day. I think I showed Matt a picture of it. But it's shockingly similar to the IWA. And it's really shockingly similar. And then the big differences for me, I would write, when I add the rankings, I would have up 1, down 2, and kind of where they sat for the previous cycle. So one day I'll post this up, show you guys. So, very much a Cyclops versus Dr. Doom on there. So that was fun. I kind of started out with my action figures, right? So I think of a lot of people thought they're masters of the universes and, their superpowers action figures, and they probably wrestled with them, right? I know I did. Because LJNs, I know people love those LJN action figures, but those are dog shit. I'm sorry. They're fucking giant rubber fucking nonsense. I know people like them, and I would get that. The only one I would get was the white shirt, red tights Hogan, and that's $400. So I'm never buying that. But that's the one I would get for sure. But they're big rubber dolls and their paint application is garbage. They just come right off. Hasbro's were so much better. But they lacked articulation too. Like, I think probably for play value, those Remco AWA figures were probably the best. You know, in terms of posability and different things you can do. Because even the Hasbro, they're kind of statuesque and they don't have a lot of articulation at all. So I think probably the Remcos are probably the actual, for play purposes, is probably the best action figure for the time. I know the ones that were fantastic. I don't collect them. Because I can't be. It would transform my hobbies to all wrestling. Because I do collect action figures, so I don't collect wrestling action figures because it'd be wrestling overload, and I do have other interests where it'd be comic book heroes, superheroes, video games. That was actually Johnny B. Now that you mention it, I was playing I have a Commodore 64 emulator that I've been messing around with trying to get to work. But maybe I can show you it. Hold on. See if we get this to go. It's a pain in the ass because it likes to run full screen. Let's see if I get that to. The problem is that the Commodore 64 keyboard is way different than your Windows keyboard, and it doesn't have a lot of the keys like run, stop. You kind of need that to do stuff, and I haven't figured out how to bind the controls the right way, so we'll be able to see that. Let's see if I get the screen capture to work. Yeah, here it is. That's funny. Let's see if we get this to go. I'll change that as capture instead. There you go. So let's see, what's a good game to play? How about Death Wish 3? So yeah, so I have the Commodore 64 emulator, trying to get it to work appropriately. Most of the time, the keys, I can't get the keys to work, and I need a joystick, which is, if I believe I'm not mistaken, it's very similar to the Atari joystick. Almost had a seizure, thanks. So clearly this was these are ROMs. See, space to read or run stop to start. I can go through the menu fine. Space to shoot, F1 to toggle. Return to go through games. Shift to run start. Shift? Is run? No. Control shift? No. Please, no. Who in their right mind did a Death Wish 3 video game? Let's see. F1 doesn't work. Wait. Did I get it? Yes. Sure. Little shots. Okay. There we go. What the fuck is that? Was it F to go? No, what, G? Am I just murking dudes with... Oh, I'm getting beat up. Oh, no. Run! Run, Charles! I don't have another gun. I just have the... Alright, we'll keep on going. What kind of shenanigans is this? Just murdering... Oh, this is a pile of goo on the ground. I gotta go through the door, right? I gotta press enter. I'm gonna shoot goons. There it is. Ridiculous. They're like, yeah, let's do a Death Wish video. I just shot that lady. Let's do a Death Wish video game, because that's the... I'm fond of Death Wish 3, by the way. It's an insane movie. Like, it's not serious at all. And he does murk the guy at the end with the rocket launcher, which is weird. They're supposed to find something too. I don't know. This is pretty ridiculous. So this is what happens when I don't get questions for my Q&A session. I'll start playing Commodore 64 games. Is this a prostitute? Racism's real, buddy. Oh, he fucking punched that cop. Motherfucker. Ridiculous. This is why I don't stream video games. Because I can't talk and stream at the same time. Oh, I just killed that old lady. Fuck. Oh, I just killed that cop by accident. Shit. So you get they take away points if you kill like innocent bystanders and police officers. I guess you guys weren't able to see shit. That's good to know. Hold on. I'll switch the thing. That's what happens. That's the thing that sucks. That you can't... You get full screen. There we go. So this is very much... They should remake Grand Theft Auto this way. And this is fucked up. Blow stuff up, blow stuff up. Yeah, so I have a, I don't have a gun, I have a rocket launcher. And I'm just rocket launchering dudes. I forget, just get the Amiga to play. There's some wrestling games on there I've been wanting to play. There's actually like a version of WrestleFest that's ported to that. If I'm not supposed to kill the police, why are they shooting me? Busting a cap in me. It's ridiculous. So yeah, Death Wish 3 on the Commodore 64. Why the fuck did they make a Death Wish 3 game? I have no idea. Music is god awful too. I guess not god awful for the time, I guess, but. Oh, this. Supposed to get something there? No. Thanks, Ryan, for the War Games reference. There, appreciate that. What are those women doing? Scratching themselves? It's weird. Like, what is that? So yeah, Death Wish 3 for the Commodore 64 kind of sucks ass. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Cybernoid, Counterforce, Click Clack, Chuck Rock. That was on TurboGrafx. Choplifter, Bombo, Servers Under Siege, Blazer, Big Mac, The Mad Maintenance, Quest for Tires, it's a caveman game. Hold on, I'll show you guys this. Okay. This seems like it's very in German, so I don't know what that is. Athena, Arkanoid. Oh, what was that? Which one I just missed? Adaphinium. 19 Part 1 Boot Camp. Okay. Let's see. Blazer, Bombo, Chuck Rock, Counterforce. Cyberball, football in the 21st century. Deliverance, but not that Deliverance. It's Deliverance, Stormlord 2. Devious Design, Duck Shoot. I wonder if it's an offshoot of Duck Hunt. Equinox, European Championship. It's like a soccer game. Exelon, Extreme. The F1 GP circuits. What was that? I just missed. Fearless Fred in the Factory of D. Formula 1 Simulator, Frogger, Frostbite. Gilbert, Escape from Drill. Hades Nebula. The Hero of the Golden Talisman. That seems interesting. Humdinger. Island Blizz. Jackpot 64. Killstart 2. Laser Wheel. License to Kill. It's a James Bond fucking game. Load Runner. Ooh, gross. Lotus, the Spirit, Turbo Challenge, Lunar Rescue, Lupo Alberto, Mad Bounty, Mario Brothers. It's like dog shit though. Maze, Metal Warrior 3, Metal Warrior 4. I wonder what happened to Metal Warrior 1 and 2. Meteor Dodger 2, Modulus, Moon Shadow, Detronics, Olympic Skier, Operations Fireball, Over the Nets, Pac-Mania. It's pretty cool. Proof of Destruction, Platoon, Aces High, Project X, Rally Cross, Rampart, Red Alert, Risk, Rapid Intercept, Seek, and Kill? Maybe? Roll Around, Rollin' Ronnie, Salamander, Slug, Smash TV, Space Gold, Space Salaman, Split Personalities, Stone Age, Squirm, Stormlord, Supercars, Super Scramble Simulator, Super Snake Simulator, Super Space Invaders. That looks pretty good, actually. Supremacy, Terramex, Flintstones, The Second World War? Maybe? I don't know. Tiebreak, Time Machine, Tubin. They put Tubin was on the NES also. Trailblazer 2, Trans World. Turn It Up to Video Meanies, Vixen. Ooh, might play some Vixen. Wall Street, the Gordon Gekko game. It's weird. Warm Up, Westminster, Wheeler Dealer. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I might play that later, buddy. World Cup 90. And ER Kung Fu. Let's take a look at Vixen. That got me curious. Okay. Da-da-da. Blonde it is. Oh. Yeah. Whips in this game? Okay. I dig that. Let's see if we get this to go without crashing here. Ah, screw it. Let's go. Let's see. So I'm this blonde woman here with a whip, whipping stuff. Let's see. I should have read the instructions, huh? Let's see. Okay, that's the crouch. That's the jump. Arrows don't work for right or left. Maybe R for right, left, no. Wait, there we go. I'm probably supposed to be crouching and killing those things. W, E, no. Gives a Q to jump. Right. Oh, I just died. Oh, I just died again. Nope. Can I go back the other way? Okay, crouch. I can go forward here. Can't go back though. Go forward. Can't go back. So if I just hit this, you can't jump and move. So this is not a platform proper. Maybe these keys to go back. So that didn't help. There we go. I'm assuming I have to duck and get that ball down, maybe? Let's crouch here. Okay. That did absolutely. Is that a key over there? If I hit. No. Probably should hit these things, huh? Question mark. Am I supposed to jump and hit those, maybe? Can I jump and hit? Is that a wolf? What the hell is that? Huh. Okay. I give credit where credit due. The prior generation who had to try to do platforming games with a keyboard, because this shit's impossible with the keyboard. I don't have the dexterity for it. Run, fool, run! Died. That's Vixen for the Commodore 64. I wouldn't know, but I think it sucks ass. And once I kind of figure out more of the how the emulator works, I can probably get pretty good at this. But well, that's that for now. All right, guys. Guess I'm gonna call it quits. Last time I did a surprise Tubecast, I got a lot of views the morning after, so I kind of expect it to be the same thing here. Yeah. So hope everyone enjoyed, and again, if you have any questions, let me know. Probably help you out. All right, guys. So have a good night.